the Inflation Reduction Act had nothing to do with inflation. The only reason inflation's
Why did they always say the Inflation Reduction Act? The Inflation Reduction Act probably was neutral on inflation.
And yet we put $2 trillion of heroin into the economy. That
Heroin.
The United States.
It led to the first, the American Rescue Plan led to like the first full job economic recovery in like 40 years.
So outperforming every single other G.
True, labor productivity is really high, inflation is back down, and we got inflation back down without bringing unemployment up.
That's his goal. Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump wants us to manufacture everything at home? That's all of his rhetoric. Do you acknowledge? He doesn't say that. Okay.
No.
Oh my God, kill me.
Steven, just 1 second.
Yeah.
He wants
The game is always to every single person I've argued about like Trump and tariffs. This is always the game. This is always what you do. You just pretend like he's proposing something other than universal tariffs because the actual plan he's proposing is
us
indefensible.
to you got 7 million prime.
This is a lie. JD Vance was lying when he said this, and he's repeating a lie by JD Vance. The majority of those men are just disabled or sick and can't work at all. Only 600,000 of those 7 million prime age men are people who are looking for jobs and don't work because they can't find jobs. Why they like always just assume like the free market stops working when you draw borders. It's just insane to me. Like, the government suffers from an information problem. The government doesn't have the information to know which job is more efficient for the US to have. The great thing about the free market is that it aggregates information. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support the channel, and I'll make sure to reply.
My next claim is that Donald Trump's economic plans would increase inflation and devastate the economy.
True and based. True, objectively true and based. And all the response is going to be is like, well, inflation was really high under fucking Biden, and that was his fault. I don't expect any serious discussion to happen.
So under the Trump administration, inflation was consistently at 2%. Under Biden Harris, it's 5.5.
What do you think
Kill me.
the biggest contributor to the Biden-Harris inflation has been?
Well, you could say the supply chain, but I would say the bills that they passed, the Inflation Reduction Act had nothing to do with inflation. The only reason inflation's
Why did they always say the Inflation Reduction Act? The Inflation Reduction Act probably was neutral on inflation. Inflation continued falling. Like, inflation had already been falling for like a month before the act was passed, and continued falling after the act was passed. Like, at least say the thing that would be true, like the American Rescue Plan definitely did have inflationary effects. Now, it also led to a full job recovery, and it was based. We caused the inflation. And it was based. That's a true Biden position.
kind of at 2.5.
I don't know. Like, clearly some of it was supply chain things. Clearly some of it was the actions of the Fed. Like, yeah.
Half now is because they raised interest rates. It has nothing to do with what they've done.
Okay, so
Nothing to do with
what was the huge event that probably triggered a ton of inflation because of all the knock-on effects from it? There was a really big event that happened in the past 5
You're
years.
referring to COVID?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So COVID happened. So if we look at Donald Trump's administration, we look at what he did. He ran massive budget deficits. He did nothing to cut spending. He did giant tax cuts, right? And he pressured the Fed to keep interest rates
Well,
low.
Harris adds like $1 trillion per year to the
Yeah, but at least they can argue for why they would
Wait,
have deficits.
please continue
Right,
down the
because they're
Fed
trying
thing.
to-
Dude. Ugh. People don't bring up the Fed independence thing enough, and now, like, after the debate I did in it, maybe I get why, because it should be such like an easy thing that, like, yes, this is obviously bad. The data shows that it's bad. We can obviously see why it's bad too. Although I guess some conservatives are so fucking cringe that it takes
save
them
us from a
50 fucking minutes to admit it.
massive recession, which more or less they did.
We already hit recession a couple times.
No, not really, no.
Yeah, by the letter of the law we have.
Okay.
I think we didn't. We did, but then it disappeared. GDP revisions actually made the technical recession in 2022 disappear. So
If you want to say that we have, then it was a soft landing at worst. Okay, but it's nowhere near as bad as it could have been. But at least we were coming into
True.
an economic crisis they probably had to spend for. Why did Donald Trump run massive budget deficits when he was sitting on a great economy that he inherited from Obama?
It wasn't a great economy.
It was an amazing economy. The stock markets were posting all-time highs for like 3 or 4 years before he even came into office.
And they got even higher under him.
They did. They continued to grow. Yes. But
and they're even higher than Biden
you have
now.
to run
What?
budget deficits to do that.
I mean, his tax cuts actually helped everyone. It helped me as a middle-class person.
Of course, because he did deficit spending. Deficit spending always helps. It gives you more money. Yeah. But how would this ever help inflation?
Well, there was no inflation under Trump.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
economy
Oh my God, kill me.
and everything in the world was growing too, right? COVID hadn't shut everything down yet.
Right.
But I'm saying that Donald Trump's administration.
Even his last month in office, that was 1.4%. Biden can't even get that in his best
Yeah,
month.
but the
What?
are we gonna cite like the year of COVID as like these are the
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to be fair to under COVID,
I'm pretty sure. What was unemployment in his last month in office? Like,
the last few months.
and also, CPI actually for the first time in fucking history, CPI actually slightly underestimated inflation in the early months of the COVID pandemic, because its weights weren't being adjusted often enough. So COVID caused a very rapid shift in consumer spending habits. So basically, people spent a lot less on things like, like gas because people weren't going anywhere, and people spent a lot more on like food because they had the DoorDash fucking food in, right? Caused a very sudden shift in consumer spending habits, and CPI weights were only being adjusted every 2 years, so it failed to account for that. Now, after the first few months of COVID, CPI started overestimating inflation again, because CPI always overestimates inflation. But
unemployment was terrible, so you're going to go off that too. But as soon as the country opened back up, they tried to take all this credit of all these jobs that were just bounced back.
Sure, and I think that's pretty stupid to say that we created this many jobs or whatever, so I'm not giving them credit for that necessarily. Of course they would. But I'm just saying that when we look at just for inflation.
January 2021 employment rate is 6.3%, so it wasn't at its peak yet, but...
Everything that Donald Trump talks about when he wants to come back in his next term seems like things that would just be inflationary. He wants to tariff everything.
Oh no, its peak was earlier, right? When did unemployment peak? It must have peaked at.
Well, he wants to drill more, which will lower the price of everything.
We already are a world producer in energy. I don't know how much drilling more is going to help. But I mean, he also I don't even know how we'll have the people to drill, because he wants to increase tariffs on every single product in the world.
Which is still made out of America.
Big thing oh my God, kill it. A big thing, by the way. People in the Midwest, a lot of people in the Midwest rely on oil imports from Canada. It's just like, even if we're energy independent ourselves, like, it makes more sense for them they're closer to fucking Canada. They import oil from Canada. If that is tariff 10%, they're probably still going to get it from Canada, because all the infrastructure is already built up to get it from Canada. The only thing you're going to do is increase prices for them. You're not going to bring any oil production back to America. Percent change from a year ago. Wait, this is CPI. Hold on.
It will benefit the American
Yeah, but if it's made out of America, then what? Then who's going to be drilling when we're all busy like making clothes and making shoes and making the most basic fundamental products?
True. The made in America tariffs don't even. Tariffs don't even like work to do this. But Destiny probably knows that. It's just such a cringe argument. Oh wait, no. Let's just do percent for this. It peaked in April 2020.
Obviously, stuff still come from overseas.
Why? He wants to tariff all of it at 50 to 1,000%.
Nah, he didn't say 1,000. He said 100.
He said
as high as
he
he
said
can
a
get,
lot
bro.
of numbers. Bloomberg,
he won't commit to a number. He says at least 10%. That's what we know.
I think
And 60% from China.
Said 1,000 for some of them. Yeah. But yeah, he says he wants to tariff everything. He said 10 or 20% was too low. He wants to manufacture everything at home.
And then when Harris went on The View and said, "Would you do anything different than Biden?" She said, "No, can't think of anything. No matter how people are struggling, how the world is, it can't be the one thing she would do."
Well, I mean, the United States is ahead of the rest.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
True and based.
No.
That's good. Welcome to the stream, Blues.
Jeez.
What the fuck? Bro, he doesn't even get it after that? Come on,
Steve, that was
man.
very inflationary.
All right.
Okay, that was very high.
Well, hold on. To be clear, I'm not a huge fan of just like stimulus stuff, because I think it has a lot of inflationary pressures.
Sure.
I think forgiving student loan debt, I think would also be massively inflationary in a lot of bad ways. But none of those even.
I don't know if student loan debt is massively inflationary, but yeah, I mean, yeah, student loan debt forgiveness definitely came at a bad time. It probably exacerbated inflation a little bit.
Come close to the total economic destruction that would be wrought on this country with across the board universal tariffs to every country in the world.
Were you concerned by the tariffs
And ending Fed independence.
in the first term?
Yes.
Okay. Why didn't we see the inflation in the first term under Trump under these tariffs that you're so concerned about?
Because I think that
He did not do 10% broad universal tariffs across the board. We did it on the things he did do tariffs that we did see price increases, like washing machines, and it didn't actually lead to any like significant investment in American home appliance manufacturing.
raising prices and everything can kind of be masked through the allocation of money to other assets, especially when the economy is growing. So the world economy is growing, right? Because a lot of people can buy things, a lot of money can transfer to a lot of different places. Inflation has to do with dollars chasing supplies of goods, basically. And if the supplies continue to grow at a really high rate, you can probably afford more deficit spending. But the issue is that I don't think that Donald Trump was intelligently saying, like, well, I can probably afford a deficit spend here because of the economy. I think he just likes to spend because everybody does. And I don't think that Trump would have the ability to rein it in, as he said multiple times in his Bloomberg.
And then also he wanted to, he doesn't like Fed independence. Part of the reason he doesn't like Fed independence is because in his first term he literally said if rates were lower we could refinance our debts. He said that's basically him saying I want rates to be lower so it is cheaper for me to deficit spend.
But also, like, the big event that was contributing to inflation over the Biden administration was probably COVID and a lot of the knock-on stuff from COVID.
American Rescue Plan, for example, the unemployment rate had already been cut in half. 100 million people had immunity to the virus.
Wait, cut in half? So we're still at like 6% or whatever? Like,
and yet we put $2 trillion of heroin into the economy.
Heroin.
The United States.
It led to the first, the American Rescue Plan led to like the first full job economic recovery in like 40 years.
So outperforming every single other G.
True, labor productivity is really high. Inflation is back down, and we got inflation back down without bringing unemployment up. GDP growth is really high.
When it comes to metrics like inflation and how our economy is doing as well.
we've got-
So I think we probably made the right choice there, right?
Well, Stephen,
wait, would you say that we made the right choice where? With like the American.
Also, the people who wrote the legislation, literally, I'm pretty sure they said this, literally said, hey, we're erring on the side of overstimulating the economy, because the lesson we learned from 2008 was probably that it's better to slightly overstimulate and suffer a short period of inflation than it is to understimulate and suffer years of lag to growth. That's probably the lesson we should have learned from the 2008 recession, right? But
I disagree. I disagree.
Okay. So which country should we have acted like?
Well, I'm going to hold ourselves to the American standard, which is to always do the best thing and not to compare ourselves to others.
Okay,
Listen,
we are outperforming everybody else.
Kill
So you think
me.
we should be doing even better. Okay.
Stephen,
U.S. real consumer spending, barely even, it's still going up, right on trend. It barely even dipped. It dipped for a little bit. But
if I'm the
what's up, NetFox? Pretty good marketing piece by Jubilee. Harris will be graceful. True.
best alcoholic in the room, I'm in the wrong room. I don't want to be the best of the worst. I want to be the best compared to my.
But we're the best of the best. We're compared to the rich developed countries. We're the best out of them. What is this fucking talking point, dude?
My own standard.
Okay, but to be clear, you're talking about a world where every single person
Stephen,
is apparently an
Stephen,
alcoholic.
Stephen,
Yeah.
Stephen.
I'm just saying that you're
Stephen.
trying to point to an economic policy
Stephen.
you can't point to in any other country in the world.
Stephen.
And we measure things.
8.5 million Americans.
Relational to other countries, and the fact that we
Stephen,
did.
I haven't
better than
interrupted
every
you.
single
I
other
haven't
one.
interrupted you. With all respect, I haven't interrupted
Okay.
you. 8.5 million people are working multiple jobs to keep up with inflation.
Kill me.
That's 7 million.
It's like 5 point. That's a normal number. I don't know what exactly he's getting that from, but if you just look at Fred percent of multiple job holders, it's at last I saw it was at 5.5%, which is a pretty normal number. It's probably a little bit higher now. It is at 5.3%. So
prime working age men who are not in the labor
wait, who?
jobs to keep up with inflation. You've got 7 million prime.
This is a lie. JD Vance was lying when he said this, and he's repeating a lie by JD Vance. The majority of those men are just disabled or sick and can't work at all. Only 600,000 of those 7 million prime age men are people who are looking for jobs and don't work because they can't find jobs. Unemployment has not been this low for this long for a while. It was under 4%. Under 4% is really good for 27 months straight. And guess what? Another big thing. We brought down inflation without bringing unemployment up much. That's incredible. But you don't give Biden any credit for that. And of course, some of the credit goes for Jerome Powell. But hey, at least Biden isn't the one threatening to end Federal Reserve independence. So
Prime working age men who are not in the labor force.
please tell me you know the
7%
debunk of
of
this.
Americans say that their children's life will not be better than theirs. This
Yeah, they're
economy
dumb.
is hurting a lot of people right now. Do you accept?
I just definitely don't know the.
No. What's Donald Trump going to do to improve that economy?
Well, let's.
He should know the debunk of the 7 million prime age men thing. It's unbelievably dumb. It's not true. And also just prime age employment is at 80.9% right now. So it's at basically all time highs.
Let's talk about that for a moment. Let's just talk about that for a moment with all sincerity.
Sure.
What problem does tariffs try to address, Stephen?
In Donald Trump's world, or what? That's a very general question.
Objective speaking, when you look at tariffs, what does it try to solve for?
It depends. People you could do tariffs for national security reasons. You could also do tariffs for just trying to bring back American manufacturing. That's a really dumb reason to do them. What?
Tariffs can be levied for a variety of different reasons. The two most common reasons that are given is that one, it can be foolishly employed to try to protect an industry. So you would tariff other people to make your
True.
own industries more competitive. These require across-the-board tariffs, so not specific ones. And then a second reason could be for issues relating to, say, national security. So, for instance, I want to tariff these people's abilities to manufacture microchips or steel, not because I think we'll be economically better off, but because if we get into war with them, I don't want to be relying on them for processing.
I think the latter case makes a lot of sense, by the way. If you
I
get to
agree.
war with China, now listen.
I hate this. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Because one, that isn't what Trump's saying. That's not what Trump is saying for tariffs. That's not. Trump is saying we want to make America great again, and bring back all the manufacturing. Oh my God! And Trump is not proposing specific tariffs on things for national security reasons. He's proposing universal tariffs. Don't pretend like he's again. You're asking me to trust a dude who doesn't know what a tariff is. I've not seen a single clip of Donald Trump accurately describing a tariff. Every single clip of Donald Trump, or every single statement by Donald Trump ever, is not him accurately describing a tariff, okay? You're asking me to trust a person who doesn't know what a tariff is to strategically implement tariffs.
Although I would be honest about the latter one and say we don't do it for economic reasons, we do it for security reasons.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. And I agree with you on that. Does China have tariffs on us? Yes. Does Europe have tariffs on us? Yes. It's not free trade.
How high are Europe's tariffs on us? I don't believe they're that high, but okay.
They're rigging it against us and charging us to send our products over there. So the question is,
They're not charging us, they're charging themselves.
Stephen, if they're putting tariffs on us, hurting our workers, hollowing out places from Middletown, Ohio to parts of Appalachia, why can't
Kill me.
we put in place a deterrent that says, look, if you're going to rig the system against American workers, we are going to level the playing field. We got a real problem in this country, by the way.
If this was
half
hold on,
of
real
work,
quick,
Stephen,
what-
hold
what-
on, I want to
what-
just
what-
Stephen.
You asked me a
Stephen.
question. You asked me a question. Whatever economic plan or however you're talking about using tariffs, sure, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Whatever you're saying, that was nothing to do with the Trump administration. What
True.
you're saying is you're talking about getting into a tariff war to try to bring tariffs down or to force somebody to engage in negotiations to bring tariff down in order to re-enter trade agreements, kind of like when Donald Trump renegotiated NAFTA into the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade
Absolutely.
agreement, right?
And
But-
now he wants to tear that up by doing 10% tariffs.
But
Stephen.
you can't just say
Stephen,
Donald
he
Trump doesn't
used
say
the threat of tariffs
that's great,
to bring them
but
to the
Donald
negotiating
Trump is
table.
not talking about using tariffs to get more people to negotiate. He wants to create an autarky. That's his goal. Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump wants us to manufacture everything at home? That's all of his rhetoric. Do you
No.
acknowledge? He doesn't say that. Okay.
No.
Oh my God, kill me.
Stephen, just 1 second.
Yeah.
He
The
wants
game is always to every single person I've argued about like Trump and tariffs. This is always the game. This is always what you do. You just pretend like he's proposing something other than universal tariffs because the actual plan he's proposing is
us
indefensible.
to employ the working men and women of this country to give them a fair shot.
Our unemployment
We're
is
losing
already less
100,000
than 5%.
people to opioids
We're
every
already-
year.
we're already
We're
below-
losing
Oh my God, opioid deaths are falling. By the way,
900 people.
Employment.
What do
We're
you-
already
hold
below.
on, hold on.
We're already below
Stephen.
what the employment should be. We're
Stephen.
already below 5%.
Stephen, 7 million working age men are not in the labor
That's a
force.
great number. I don't know what that number.
oh my God, that number's not even true.
Hold on. Do you
Wait,
acknowledge
hold
that?
on, hold on.
Do you
Stephen,
what?
Stephen, just 1 sec. Half of working age men who are not in the labor force are taking opioid painkillers every day. The broken industrial
And you
policies
think
of
this
this
means-
country.
Because they. Wait,
you-
hold
we're
on.
not in the labor
Let me make sure I heard that right.
With that number, hold on. Do you
Wait,
acknowledge
hold
that?
on, hold on.
Do you
Stephen,
what?
Stephen, just 1 sec. Half of working age men who are not in the labor force are taking opioid painkillers every day.
Probably because most of them are disabled. Like you can see the chart here. Most of them are disabled. Only 687,000 of them are people who can't find work. Like what? Ill or disabled is the biggest one. Some people are in school. Some people are retired. Some people other. Like what?
broken industrial
And you think
policies
that
of this country.
and you think having
from
them
George
manufacture
Bush
shoes that
to
aren't
Bill
being made in
Clinton.
China is gonna magically
no,
get rid of that
no,
problem?
No,
True.
no, Stephen.
This has
No,
nothing to do
does
with
New Balance
anything.
make in America? Yes or no?
None of this
Does
has to
New
do with
Balance make in
anything.
America?
I don't know. For the finally assembly,
Yes, they
maybe.
do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. But here's the thing,
What was the point of that?
Stephen, Stephen.
Do you think that we can manufacture every single good we
No,
consume
I
at
don't
home?
think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
What is
So
it?
why are we doing universal
Call it
tariffs?
1,000 or 500 or whatever. 100%.
Where are Teslas made? Where are Teslas made? Where's the best-selling car in America made? In the world, rather. Where's it made?
I don't. When you say
right
where
here
is
in
it made-
America.
Hold on.
Right
What do you
here in
mean by that?
America.
Every single part?
No, the final assembly, a large.
Do you want?
But you want to tariff every single part used to make it.
Understand that yesterday when Donald Trump was doing his interview with Bloomberg, he made fun of that. Donald Trump shit on companies like Tesla when he said, we do the final assembly here, we could have children do that. It's just throwing together Legos. Donald Trump doesn't
True.
like final assembly. Donald Trump wants not just the Tesla final assembly here, but all the batteries, all of the steel, every single component of that made in America. Again, your plan sounds great. That sounds like an ordinary, like decent economic plan. Donald Trump's plan is autarky. It's ridiculous.
I'm glad you like my plan. Thanks.
Okay, if you run for president, I'll support it.
I appreciate it.
Every single time, ignore what Trump's proposing. Propose your own fucking thing. Like, and then I'm supposed to trust Trump, who doesn't know what a tariff is, to implement your plan over the plan that he's saying that he's going to implement. It's insane. It's insane. The standards are insane.
Yep.
All right, so if Trump is going to be bad for inflation, why is it that when he left office in
Kill me.
2021, inflation was at like almost an all-time low, practically non-existent at 1.4%. As soon as he left, that's when inflation started rising with the Biden-Harris administration. If he's going to be bad at inflation, why was the economy so good his whole 4 years? If you look at all the polls from any news site, even CNN, which is more left-leaning, you'll see that people in general say that they trust Trump more with the
What
economy.
did Donald Trump do that made the economy so good in those 4 years?
The question should be, what did he not do? He didn't do anything.
Exactly, I agree. He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything bad. He
Yeah,
stayed good the
didn't have
entire
to do
4
anything, 'cause
times.
The economy had been growing ever since Obama brought us out of the end of the 2007 collapse.
True.
Again, another Democrat president comes in, whether it's 2008 with Obama inheriting the housing crisis, or whether it's 2020 with Biden coming in and having to deal with COVID. Yeah, he had to come in and spend like
You
crazy.
can't blame everything on COVID, okay?
You can blame a lot on COVID. It was a really big deal, and we are doing better than all the other countries right now. I agree. Under Biden, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, and when Trump left office, he was also in the middle of COVID too, and inflation was still at 1.4%. Why has it tripled?
He didn't have the recovery under him.
Donald Trump's
I mean,
not like
a part of that was always just a time thing. There's probably no way he could have had a full recovery under just him. But
first year of or the first like month of COVID, pretending it didn't exist. I don't know if he was like the leader to point to about that.
Okay, well,
I just don't know like what's one policy that Donald Trump has given if he comes back in office is going to help inflation? Just one.
he's
Okay,
going to be doing
pause.
tariffs, and he's
How that makes things more
that makes it what?
He's also going to be mining.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seats.
Yep. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so the Congressional Budget Office in the 1980s reported that $1 to $3 billion was spent on illegal immigrants who were coming in and basically feeding
In the
off of public
1980s? What?
services.
Why we?
So what I don't really find appealing is that you get a lot of conversation from the right and the left asking basically everyone except Latinos what they think about this issue, okay? Because it affects us. It affects the fact that we're here.
I hear conservatives all the time say that Latinos hate illegal immigration too, but okay.
legally.
I
And
know,
then we're
right.
getting our image basically affected by the fact that we have criminals killing Americans, by the way. Let me just give you a few names.
Are you
of
fucking kidding me? Kill me,
died
dude.
Basically at hands of illegal criminals. Lincoln Riley,
I didn't realize it said 1980 when I saw this. Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about.
people know.
And also, like, we're ignoring any of the potential benefits they give to the country. Like, they also pay taxes, right? Like most of the data shows that immigrants who at least have a high school degree end up contributing more than they take out in tax benefits. But
Christopher Gadd, Travis Wolf.
which is why the Congressional Budget Office also estimates that I forgot. She said Congressional Budget Office. If we're accepting Congressional Budget Office here, the Congressional Budget Office, not in 1980, but in 2023, said that the surge in immigration will reduce the deficit by $900 billion. So,
Alex
What is it?
Wise.
What is it?
Do you not care about these names?
No, I don't care about these names.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh.
based,
well,
true and
that's-
based.
If we're having a policy discussion, no. Do you
So
want me to
this
start naming
one-
off like every black person that gets killed by a
this
police
one-
officer or whatever?
so
If you want to do
look
the
at-
BLM tactics, I mean, we can do that, but like,
Look
no,
at
I don't
this
care.
one. A 12-year-old Travis Scott, a baby by 2
Sure,
years
all,
old.
all death, all murder.
You
is
have a son,
tragic,
right?
But what is the?
You have a son, right?
Has nothing to do
So
with
if your son was
conversation.
killed at the
Kill me.
hands of an illegal immigrant who was a criminal, you would care about the southern
I would
border.
also care if he was killed by a 15-year. I would care if he died in a school shooting.
Wouldn't,
What do you mean? What's the point?
Wouldn't you be
Do you think
there
that my son has a higher chance of being
advocating
killed
for
by-
the
do you
southern
think-
border
do you
to
think
be
that my son-
closed? You would be.
Do you think that my son has
You
a higher
would
chance of
be.
being killed in a
You
school
would be.
shooting or
It
by an illegal
debunks
immigrant?
you. It
What do you think?
debunks
What do you
So
think?
you don't want to answer the question.
Oh my God, he won't answer the
If your
question.
son was killed as a victim at the hands of an illegal criminal, by the way, there is a watch list of many people, terrorist groups and organizations.
Oh my God,
have
this
been coming
is
into our
incredibly
country.
cringe. This person cannot possibly think this is a good
It is
own,
very
right?
well known. Look, let me tell you. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. You've been voted out by the majority.
Oh, okay.
So, as everybody's already discussed, tariffs are actually beneficial to American manufacturing. Ivanka Trump
No data shows this.
brought
They can't cite anything. No, like they're just dumb. They can't cite anything. Like all the data shows to the contrary. I can go over like 10 different studies that show it that they don't help. We like logically we can see why they don't help because there's retaliatory tariffs that harm exports too. Like tariffs on intermediate goods harm exports, and a lot of American manufacturers rely on exports. Like
Louis Vuitton manufacturing back to America, something that was considered unheard of.
Why do you think every?
wait.
Brought Louis are actually beneficial to American manufacturing. Ivanka Trump brought Louis Vuitton manufacturing back to America, something that was considered unheard of.
Why do you think?
Louis Vuitton. We were making purses here. Did Ivanka Trump bring them back because of tariffs? As far as I'm not aware of any tariffs on fucking luxury purses. Ivanka Trump. How do you spell Louis Vuitton? I have no clue how to spell Louis Vuitton. I want to call the gay man a conservative. Welcome back, Ian Hartman. Ivanka Trump. American manufacturing bags. Ivanka Trump products are not made. This is the first article that comes up. It says Ivanka Trump products are not made in America. I have no clue if this is true or not. People usually will say like steel jobs were protected. It's like true. Like maybe 1,000 steel jobs were protected. I have no clue if I just search up like Trump tariffs purses. Did Trump even? I have no clue. This guy, I think he's just pulling it out of his ass, quite frankly.
Every single economist hates tariffs.
Why do you
True.
why do you hate American manufacturing?
Like,
Kill me. They don't even help American manufacturing, and also like the opportunity. This is how I'm gonna. Okay, I think this is how I'm gonna do. This is my syllogism. Okay, I think I'm gonna start like doing in debates. Oh my god, for any tariff shit. It's just like it's just tariffs are a tax on trade, not just on imports, but on trade. And then, the first point would be trade allows you to consume outside of your production possibility curves. 2, tariffs are a tax on trade. I think that, like, any conversation I have with a conservative, I think I'm going to go through that first, and then I'm going to cite all the studies at them that prove that, like, tariffs don't even help American manufacturing. If your country's forever dependent on other nations, what does that make your country? It's mutual dependence. So, like, that's why free trade is probably responsible for a peace in the world too, because countries are mutually dependent upon each other. It's fine to be dependent on your allies. It's more economically efficient to be. I don't even want to say dependent. Dependent's a dumb word, but like the idea that like it makes you realize you as a person are dependent on everyone too. Presumably you don't grow your own food. Presumably you didn't make the computer that you're typing on right now. Specialization allows for gains in productivity. It allows for everyone to gain. Like what you like. It's just so dumb.
I hate America. I don't know. What kind of a question?
No, because manufacturing jobs actually bring people out of poverty. So what is your problem?
So does every job. What? He realizes every manufacturing job it represents an opportunity cost of another job that like would have been more efficient. Like the free market has decided that I'm trying to think of it, like an Apple engineering job is preferable is more economically efficient for America to do than a car manufacturing job. I don't know what conservatives why they like always just assume like the free market stops working when you draw borders. It's just insane to me. Like the government suffers from an information problem. The government doesn't have the information to know which job is more efficient for the U.S. to have. The great thing about the free market is that it aggregates information, and the free market determines the free market determines based on everyone's information, based on aggregate information from everyone participating in the market, that a Apple engineering job is more efficient than a car manufacturing job. This is what's great about the free market. This is what's great about the government not intervening in the free market.
Problem with manufacturing in America.
My problem is in America, because we're such an educated country and because we're such an advanced country, we can do more
True.
with manufacturing
True.
than making the most bare bones things that other countries might be better suited towards creating.
So
the
you
reason why
prefer-
Elon
so you
Musk
prefer-
came to America
So
to
you
do
prefer
Tesla
other
and
people doing our
SpaceX
manufacturing?
to do baser manufacturing,
That's what
we can
you're
do more.
saying.
We can
That's
do
what
we
you're
can do
saying.
more
You're saying
complicated.
Oh my God, what are we giving up to? Every job, every person in America making a shoe is someone in America not being an engineer at Apple, again, making iPhones.
The lowest rung of our population isn't important enough to actually provide them a job, even if it is a manufacturing job.
They have jobs.
What is the jobs? The ones that are being
I
taken
don't
by
know.
the
We have
the
less than
ones being-
5%
the
unemployment. What are they
the
doing
ones
for
being
work? What do you
taken
mean?
by
Like,
the immigrants.
all the data also shows tariffs don't protect jobs. They protect... God, it's so dumb. Oh my God. Do you think this guy would come on stream? All the data shows they don't protect jobs. They reduce output. They reduce output and increase unemployment, and they reduce productivity because you hurt so many other people when you tariff goods. It's so dumb.
Immigrants?
I thought the immigrants were coming here not working.
Yo soy la población.
Yeah, I know. Like Schrodinger's immigrant. It pops up once again. They're too lazy and they're simultaneously stealing jobs and also too lazy and just leeching off welfare services.
Afecta a estos policías. De veras. Tienes que aprender español, mijo.
Not very well. Something about the
I
politics.
can't deal with listening to two
I
men
don't know
argue
what-
each other.
yeah.
My community is the one who's going to be affected by the policies that are
What are you talking about? What policy?
Kamala Harris's policies and Trump's policies. We benefited. My community benefited.
What? From what policy? What are you
Because when
talking
you
about?
bring in an unskilled labor population, they're going to compete with Americans who are also low-skilled workers.
Do you think that we have an employment?
You don't think,
Hold
you
on,
don't
no, no,
think,
I just
you
need- I
don't
need to
think
get-
that
I
I
need to
can't
get-
pick, you don't think I can teach Maria or Juanita to pick up a pair of scissors and groom a dog's hair? Because I've done that before. And you know what? I can replace anybody. That's called being a low-skilled worker. And anybody crossing the border can do that. You
Imagine all those manufacturing jobs you're hurting by importing. Yeah, but you understand. Ugh, it's so frustrating. Oh my god. Oh my god. There are two ways to get cars in America. The first way to get cars in America is to manufacture them in Detroit. The second way to get a car in America is to plant seeds in Iowa. The seeds grow into wheat, and you ship the wheat across the Pacific Ocean. And a few weeks later, the ships come back with cars in them, okay? Any policy designed to help the first type of American car manufacturers hurts the second type of car manufacturers, okay? This is true, and all data supports this. Economics 101 supports this. You can model it. The fact that Japan is a country that is willing to trade wheat for cars is not relevant to America's interest, okay? Not from the point of economics. The geopolitics can play into it, but not from the point of economics, okay? We might as well assume that Japan is a factory that turns wheat into cars, okay? That is functionally what Japan is from an economics point of view, okay? So any policy designed to help the manufacturing jobs in Detroit hurts the jobs in Iowa, okay? Just know that. And all the data supports this. The IMF did a study at like 151 countries, and they found, hey, guess what? All the countries that implemented tariffs, we found that it like increased unemployment, okay? There are so many studies that all show this too.
don't need a degree. You don't
W Destiny True,
need
thank you.
a diploma to do
No,
these
but we
jobs.
do
But
have
these
degrees.
jobs,
We're
It just increased.
jobs,
America does not have the most
manufacturing
productive
jobs,
labor
these
force in the
low-skilled
world because we do
jobs are
base
important.
manufacturing
You
jobs.
True.
don't think these
It's
low-skilled
golden-
jobs are important.
then what?
You don't think these
It's-
low-skilled
we-
jobs are
we
important.
do
That's very
more- we
sad.
do more
That's
in the
very
United
sad that
States.
you don't
We do
care about
more in the
low-skilled
United
workers.
States.
He realizes like low skill jobs, aka low productivity jobs, are like pay less, right? Than like high skill jobs and high productivity jobs.
Just base manufacturing. We are the world's most sophisticated
Why
and
shouldn't
educated
we do-
economy.
why shouldn't we
Because
do more base
You
manufacturing?
don't have 50 hours in the day. You can do more than that. Why wouldn't we let other
The
countries do it?
reason
if
that
they can do more
manufacturers
educated work?
choose to go out of the country is because America has to pay for things like labor laws, employment, insurance.
It's because of comparative advantage. Because of comparative. It's because of opportunity cost.
All
I
these
guess
other
he
fast-
doesn't understand it. He doesn't think that's real. But okay.
That's why these big corporations will go to places like China. I have a company called BYD in my backyard that brings in Chinese immigrants and pays them Chinese wages in America. And my representative, Mike Garcia, got that organization defunded because federal funding.
Who is this guy? Marco? Or Mario? These posts are protected. I'm assuming this is him, right?
My taxes.
You think it would be better
are
if we
going
paid? So we
to
need
a
to.
Manufacturing jobs are the key for homeowners for those types of folks in the line. Oh my God. You're not even helping manufacturing jobs. You have to hurt for tariffs on most things don't help manufacturing jobs. But whenever they do help manufacturing jobs, they're very expensive other jobs. You gotta give up jobs to protect certain types of jobs. It like,
Chinese
So we need
company
to pay-
in my
but also like any like resources used for like domestic consumption now, because the point of tariffs is to like build up domestic production. Those are resources that now can't be used to export stuff. That hurts manufacturing jobs too.
backyard.
need to pay-
I would rather
Yeah.
pay
So
American
importing everything helps manufacturing jobs? Yeah, tariffs don't. My only claim is that tariffs don't help manufacturing jobs for the most part.
workers.
That's very out of touch with it. You don't understand how things work. You don't. You're not familiar with any of the literature on this. I don't think you're familiar with any of with any of the literature, with any of the economics 101 on this. You are just
An hour
not.
to make
No,
products?
I'd
Maybe
rather
your,
make-
maybe your
make a
company shouldn't exist in America. Maybe you should go to China and make your company.
$15,
Go to China and make the company.
You
That
are
would be better.
literally
You should do that.
arguing to
Yes,
move
I'm
American
arguing that American
manufacturing out
workers
of
can
America.
earn more money than
You
they-
are very
no,
sad.
I'm saying
You don't love America.
Elon Musk.
You are proving that you
Elon
don't
Musk.
love America because you don't want Americans to benefit. You don't want American manufacturing to lift people out of poverty. That is sad.
Oh my God. Says the kid that is clearly never. Fun fact. Because I'm not in the workforce, I actually have time to do this funny thing called reading. Whether or not I've been in the workforce is not at all relevant to my understanding of economics and my understanding of tariffs. So that's a
what's up?
totally dumb point.
So we already talked about inflation 1.9 under Trump. I think you guys like to leave out deficit spending, which was 8.2 trillion under Biden and 6.7 under Trump.
Why was it so much higher under Biden?
You could say during COVID, but you could also
I don't
bring in
even
the-
think that. Is that taking out COVID spending for for Trump and not taking out covert spending for Biden?
Tax,
Or-
the total revenue
What's up, Ortons? Welcome back.
during Biden and Trump was close to the same, and he was spending almost double the amount each year. And you could also
Why
talk
was-
about
why
the
was-
Federal
why was Trump
Reserve
running such
printing
huge deficits?
Printing
You're not gonna answer that
16
question, are
trillion.
you?
Can you repeat the question? I
Why
was
did
talking
Donald
and you
Trump?
interrupted
Why
me,
did
so-
yeah? Because you want to get out the next point. Why did Donald Trump engage in massive deficit spending?
Why did Donald Trump engage in massive deficit spending? I don't know the answer. Can you
I
answer?
missed you.
Yeah, because he likes to spend because it makes the economy look better.
Okay, so the same thing that Biden and Harris does.
Yeah, but they have
at
a reason
at an
because
increasing
they're
rate,
because they're
correct?
coming in under
at an increasing rate,
increasing
correct?
rate to stave off recession.
Okay,
Yes,
then what about the
there's-
Federal Reserve printing $16 trillion in 2 years?
What about the Federal
From
Reserve?
2021
the
to
Federal Reserve's
2023.
monetary policy.
It's independent of the president. Only Trump wants to end Fed independence, by the way. And also, I don't even know. He's probably talking about quantitative easing, which really isn't really money printing.
If you like to
administration,
blame
so-
inflation only on COVID, but you don't want to take in deficit spending, you don't want to take in the Federal Reserve printing money, you also don't
If
want
you
to
want
take
to
in...
talk about the Federal Reserve rates were not only low under Trump, he pressured them to be low. He literally
True.
bragged about
He
it
said he wanted to refinance our debt because he wanted to spend more.
in his interview, and he said that when he comes back in, one of his goals is to keep the federal interest rates low. He talked about bringing Jerome Powell into his office and threatening him to keep the rates low. So if you don't like deficit
True. Jerome Powell was on record about this
spending,
too.
if you don't like the Federal Reserve's monetary policy, if you don't like free money, then it feels like Donald Trump is literally the worst case for you.
Jake, who are you voting for? I already voted for Kamala Harris.
Well, wouldn't you say the deficit spending is causing inflation? So
It
doesn't
can,
that
yes.
take more money away from Americans by your logic?
I don't know if it takes more money away from America, but deficit spending can
So
lead
on,
to
higher inflation doesn't take money away from Americans?
it
I mean,
can. It's more-
it decreases real purchasing power, but like it also deficit spending is also private sector surplus, right? Like there's sectoral balances that play too.
complicated, but yeah, it can. But I'm saying that deficit
Am I Jewish? No.
spending in and of itself is generally inflationary. But there are reasons why you might want to deficit spend. For instance, it's better to have some inflation than it is to have a recession or a full depression, right?
True.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. Now, you bring up tariffs. Now, why did we extend them under
Why didn't you vote me?
Biden?
I have
And then why
great
did we double the
policy.
tariffs from Canada as well if tariffs are so bad? So when Biden does it, it's okay, but when Trump installs them, they're horrible.
So
Kill
the
me.
issue is if you're talking about specific.
I mean, if one, like, I don't know if Destiny likes Biden's tariffs, but like, it's so easy to say, like, yeah, I don't like Biden's tariffs. Good thing Biden is proposing universal tariffs, and like, true. And two, the point again, you're asking me to trust a guy who doesn't know what a tariff is. At least Biden knows what a fucking tariff is to strategically implement tariffs. Okay, Trump does not know what a tariff is.
tariffs as retaliation because somebody else might be tariffing something that they shouldn't if they're engaging in that, then that type of thing, as was discussed earlier, I think is okay. The reason why a lot of them came in under Trump and they weren't rescinded under Biden is because once somebody's put a tariff in place and then a counter tariff comes up, you have to engage in a negotiation to bring them down. You can't take yours down unilaterally because you just get screwed.
So do you think all economists agree that 10% tariff is bad?
Yes.
You should look at the study 2019
Almost all of them, like almost all economists, we have polls, almost all economists agree that universal tariffs is bad.
by Jenny Tang, Brent Newman.
I would
Set up-
never
It's
look-
literally like upward of
At a
90%.
single
Economists agree that 10% tariff is bad.
Hold on,
Yes.
what's this
So look
study?
at Study 2019 by Jenny Tang, Brent Newman.
I would
Set a
never look at a single study on that,
0.44%
yeah.
increase in inflation.
That's time.
False price.
Please return to your seat.
Oh, well, he didn't. 4.4 increase in what? If you want to chat with me live, sub here or go to Nonfon420 on Twitch or Kick via the links below. Once again, please like and sub to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support me, and I'll make sure to reply to any question you ask. See you guys next time.